Hey y'all, my name is Alex, and if you are here, my guess is that you are interested in my research project, which I'm super excited because I've seen amazing results with clients. It is my 12-week program that clients pay me for, but based on my research and things that I've actually been able to show, all the woo-woo stuff that a lot of us, especially in the natural healing community, see it already, but oftentimes we can't really explain the different specifics that are happening on a physiological basis. Well, that's where my research comes in because I can't actually explain it. And it's really exciting to see the intricacies of nature and how that actually applies to us and our human vessels. So if you are interested in being able to get a hold of all your subconscious thoughts, get rid of all of this icky programming that you are starting to notice in your life, and you are ready to create the life of your dreams, then my program might just be for you. So stick around and let's see. So essentially my 12-week program, we break it into 3 sections. First is the mind. The mind has a beautiful ability to create, and this is something research has actually shown, the energy that is brought. I always think of us as like little electrical plugs. You'll hear me use the analogy of being a lamp. The lamp, gets plugged into source, the electrical grid, if you will, the source energy. And then when you go to turn it on, depending on what's being put into the line is depending on how bright and what the output is of the lamp, and the end result can actually have the ability to be. And so when we have our mind being intentionally created to have a specific output, the game starts to change. More importantly, when we have a very specific structure to get a hold of the thoughts being created as a whole, because that's what's going to happen. We're going to start to become very aware of the thoughts, what's being taken place, and then we're going to start to restructure them, and we're going to start to get a hold of that and be like, does that align or not for what I'm trying to create in my life? And then we start to shift things moving. Then we go into the body, because that's where when you just have people talk about talk therapy doesn't work, or it doesn't work that well, or it's more than that. It really is more than that, because the brain is only able to logic things through, but the problem is the body remembers, because it's a survival mechanism that we go through. Our body needs to survive life, and if we have different things that come up, the body can trigger and be like, oh, alarm bells, we've been here before, remember what happened, so we need to make sure we try to do X, Y, and Z, right? Well, if it's no longer a helpful survival mechanism or pattern, this is where problems start to occur in our life, and it interferes with our expected day-to-day functions. So first we get really clear on what's being created in the mind. We start tweaking it. We start allowing it to process through the body, and we start tweaking it some more because we gain more clarity. We have more depth, a lot more processing, lots more processing. And then we start to fully integrate. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to be totally healed and perfect and amazing. Yes, it doesn't mean you're going to be totally healed and perfect at the end of it. No, but you will be more amazing than you are right now, because you will have the ability to, in the awareness, the most important thing is the awareness, and that's where we have it very structured, a very specific way. I've been doing my research for over a decade now, and it's amazing how we can play with the brain and use the brain's own natural mechanisms and cravings almost. I always joke that we have tiny human brains because they don't like insane abstract stuff. They like their little neat, perfect boxes. Give me something concrete and easy to understand. And when we can understand, all right, well, that's what the brain is craving, to be able to get through the tough stuff and make the big changes and want to do the big stuff that's hard. All right, well, now it's starting to make sense on like how we can grip the brain to start making the deep changes we are wanting to make. And that's the key with the architecture aspect of my program, because we don't want to just create any old thing. We want to create what we feel is, each of us individually feels is online for you and for what your life is, and trying to create in your passions and your purpose. And of course, you're going to need to get clear on some of that too, because you might also be sitting there like, Alex, this all sounds great, but I don't even know where I'm supposed to go great. We help you figure that out too, because that's part of the process. And the idea is that you're able to take my program and replicate it over and over and over and over again, because life isn't going to stop lifing. Life has not stopped lifing for me. Please understand. It is just the normal evolution of the human experience. And the thing is, though, the way I interpret and see and move through the world as a whole is drastically different than when, a decade ago when I started this stuff. And it's because my awareness of how I would like to move through the world that I felt was most aligned with my journey and how I saw fit for me, where I was, and I started picking apart all the things within myself with love, of course, but needed to, because I wanted to up level. And in order to up level, if I'm carrying all this heavy energy, it's hard to do when you're just like, oh, we got so much weight, this is hard to move, right? And energetically, it is no different than having excess weight that is incongruent with the way that I wanted to live my life. And so I had to learn how to heal those layers back with love, with very intense love, but needing to process and really look at the ugly shit within myself. And that's what we do in my program. And so the way the cohort runs is just like my regular group cohorts, legally structured, all of that. We've got our contracts in place with this and everything that we'll go through, because it does talk about the anonymity part, where the participants, in their willingness to give me their anonymous results, that they themselves will have a participant ID that has nothing to do with any personal information. It's completely related to my research, actually, for my tracking purposes. So, but the participant themselves will have their ID. Whomever the participant does decide to give the ID to is the only other individuals whom will know what that ID number is. And then, of course, if they don't share it with anybody, nobody else will know, because of legal reasons, HIPAA specifically, and all the different things with making sure that we as the researchers are blind to who is attached to what specific results, because it helps it on our part just basically show up and do our job, do what we're supposed to do, run the program the way we're supposed to run it, and see what happens, right? It's essentially it. And what you can expect each day will include the journal prompt, the meditation, and the little blurb that usually is less than 5 minutes each. So usually everything altogether is under 15 minutes of your daily dedication. And then on the weekends, that's where you do a lot of just integrating, meditating, connecting with the body, that type of thing, to really help the body process. Because when you get into my program, it's going to be a lot of heavy processing, especially if you are new to some of this work, and a lot of this is new, as far as like connecting everything together. It's going to be an intense but beautiful experience. But that's the best part, is that you are able to go through it. And then once you kind of start to get the idea, which by the time 12 weeks is up, you will absolutely have integration of all of it, because we just consistently do so much of very similar things that build upon each other, and we just keep going with it. And you're able to really just pull those strings and start to get crystal clear on all of the different aspects of your healing journey and where you are at and what it is that you need pulled out. So with all of that being said, go ahead and fill out the questionnaire and book a call. If you have questions, you're more than welcome to book that call with us and let us know in the information sheet what it is that you are looking for, what questions even that you have. I'm excited to work with y'all, and I cannot wait to see you guys there. Take care.